Hey guys, and welcome back to round 7 of the 1994 season as part of my Custom F1 series on F1 Challenge 99 to 02. If you're new to this series, this is a series where I've made my own Formula 1 team to enter onto the 1994 grid, and we're going to play through a career. Things might change, things might differ from what happened in real life. Maybe Benetton won't be as dominant in 1995 based on the upgrades they bring in my game. Things are going to change, driver transfers are going to be different to what they are in real life. It's going to be a very exciting adventure. We're at the home Grand Prix. Streamline Engineering is a British team, and it is the British Grand Prix today. Our two drivers, Mika Salo, which you're riding on board with now, and Kaya Mahendra. Kaya Mahendra is a youth driver created by a member on my Discord server. And if you want to create your own custom driver to enter into this series, maybe into a youth series, Formula 3, Formula 2, then there'll be details on that on my Discord very soon. So make sure to head over there and join that. We're about to do a qualifying lap, but first we have the news.
Welcome back to the newest edition of Custom F1 Weekly. Nicola Larini made a shaky debut to the 1994 season last time out in France, managing to lock his tyres and make contact with his teammate on the opening lap at Magny-Cours. A string of poor results for the Italian could result in a loss of seat as Ferrari chase an outside shot at the Constructors' Championship. In other news, Briton Damon Hill returns after a couple of races out with injury, and what better place to return than at his home Grand Prix. Hill is yet to really get going so far this year, so maybe fortunes will change here today. That's all from me, until next week.
And here we are then on my fastest qualifying lap. If you're always wondering why I'm not actually setting like so many laps in qualifying, it's because I do about 30 minutes of practice beforehand to get the AI difficulty correct for the circuit. So I do all my practice there. I usually nail the qualifying lap first time out. Sometimes I do a few if I make a mistake. But in this case, our fastest qualifying lap comes on my first flying lap attempt in this session. We're trying to topple Ayrton Senna's 125.443, which is currently provisional pole position, as we're about 40 minutes through this 1 hour qualifying session. The Streamline, of course, has an upgrade. You guys voted on that upgrade at the start of the season. Instead of reliability, you wanted performance, and we've got some performance here. It's pushed us quite far up the grid. Not anywhere in the top half, but we're closer to the rear of the midfield, you could say. Maybe 11th, 10th best team car. It depends on the track, to be fair. But we're in the final sector of this lap on this track, this legendary circuit, Silverstone circuit, of course, opened in 1948, a very, very long time ago, and it hosted the first ever Formula 1 World Championship event in 1950. As we're approaching the line, we're not going to topple Senna's time, of course not. We're going to set a 128.180. It puts me 10th at the moment, but where are we on the starting grid? So here we have the starting grid for the 1994 British Grand Prix, and it looks good for Benetton. Michael Schumacher claims pole position. I think that's his first pole position in a number of races. Ayrton Senna less than a 10th behind in second place, and Damon Hill on his return after missing 2 races qualifies in third. Jos Verstappen, who's having a solid season, a solid debut season, qualifies in fourth. John Alesi and Nicola Larini, the 2 Ferraris, on the third row. Then we have the 2 McLarens on the fourth row, Hakkinen ahead of Brundle, the 2 Tyrrells, Katayama ahead of Blundell on row 5, the 2 Ligiers, Panis ahead of Bernard on row 6, and the 2 Jordans, Barrichello ahead of Irvine on row 7. Now it's quite unusual to see the teams line astern like this, but it almost continues down into the second half of the grid, although we do have a slight gap. Mika Salo in the Streamline splitting the 2 Saubers. I would be disappointed with that, but that's a brilliant qualifying from Salo, up in 16th place with the newly upgraded Streamline Engineering car. De Cesaris 15th, Heinz-Held Frentzen in 17th, then the 2 footworks of Morbidelli and Fittipaldi, the 2 Minardis of Alboreto and Martini, the 2 LaRousse cars of Comas and Beretta. Then we have Kaya Mahendra, who's once not qualifying at the back. Well, he is still at the back, but not last. 24th place for Mahendra, Alessandro Zanardi in the lead, Lotus in 25th. Then we have the 2 Simtex, Ratzenberger and Brabham, with Philippe Adams in what is 4th race now in Formula 1. He qualifies in 28th and last place. So it's Silverstone circuit in Great Britain, a legendary circuit which is just over 5 kilometres in length and featuring 17 corners today. We have 15 laps ahead of us around this circuit. The projected conditions are dry and the current conditions are dry, so we're in for another dry race. And both streamline cars on a 2-stop strategy. Salo going a very simple lap 20 and lap 40. Mahendra a slightly longer first stint, lap 22, lap 42 for his second stop, and then a slightly shorter final stint. Well, there's only one thing to do, and that's go racing. The 1994 British Grand Prix is next. Here we are on the grid for the British Grand Prix. Those are the lights and we're underway. The 1994 British Grand Prix is go. And we actually gain a position off the start. Well, we maintain a position as there's a Sauber on my outside. It's Frenz and we managed to just stay ahead of him. We're going side by side through Copse, which is of course the old first corner. We maintain 16th position as we head through Magnets and Beckett's for the first time on this opening lap of 59 laps that we have ahead of us today. My quali pace was very good, but it was kind of that one-off amazing lap. My race pace isn't that great, and of course we have 20 laps of fuel on board. It's going to make this streamline very sluggish even with the car upgrades that we have. So we need to try and look after the tyres and try and not make many mistakes in an attempt to keep positions, but I'm sure we will lose some and then maybe gain some back towards the end of the race due to retirements and whatnot. But the Cesaris there going quite slowly into the left-hander as Frentzen sticks his nose up the inside. I have to give him space, and Sauber whips around my outside in the following corner. So I'm down to 17th and make it 18th. Gianni Morbidelli there in the lead footwork trying to overtake me, but I go back up the inside into the next corner. The left-hander, I think it's called Farm? Is maybe Village? I'm not sure. I don't really know the corner names that well. But we go under the bridge and into the old last sector for the first time in this race. We're currently in 17th place. I'd say it's a decent start. We haven't lost too much. Now here's the start from the leader's perspective. Michael Schumacher on pole position on the outside line, which is of course the racing line heading into the first corner. He leads ahead of the Williams of Ayrton Senna, who's under pressure from Schumacher's Benetton teammate Jos Verstappen as they head through Magnets and Beckett's for the first time towards the hangar straight. Schumacher has a comfortable lead. Senna and Verstappen going to go very deep into this corner, run wide across the grass, lose a bit of momentum, and that's alright for Senna, but not so good for Verstappen as Damon Hill moves back past towards the next right-hander, which is Stowe. Hill takes back third place. I do get the impression we are going to tumble down the order though. Look at the gap to Frentzen already. It's only lap 2, and Morbidelli goes up my inside into the chicane. He gives me space. I think he actually slightly cuts the corner, but Morbidelli moves up into 18th place. We're down, up to 17th place. We're down to 18th, sandwiched between the two footworks. And now I have Fittipaldi all over the back of me. I run slightly wide. The understeer is not going to help me. Fittipaldi's up my inside into the second to last corner. Through Luffield, the final real corner. Fittipaldi's made that place up. I'm down to 19th. Now we have the Minardi of Alboreto behind. Martini has managed to get past his teammate Alboreto, and now on lap 5, the end of lap 5, I'm under pressure. I make a slight mistake into Luffield, and I'm side by side with the Minardi of Martini. He pulls ahead of me. I might be able to get this position back there as we head across the line to start lap 6 towards Copse, a very, very fast right-hander. We're doing what Lewis Hamilton did this year, but hopefully we're not going to make contact with my rival, which I don't. I take the position back up to 19th, but we're really, really under pressure from the two Minardis. On to lap 9 now, and I'm still just staying ahead of the Minardis, but I'm going to make a slight mistake here on the right-hander. I go a bit too deep into it, get a slight bit of understeer, and that allows Martini to pull side by side with me. We go side by side down this straight towards the chicane, the left-right chicane. I go back up the inside, but it's still side by side. I have to give the Minardi space on the outside line there, and as we go under the bridge through the fast right-hander, I completely forgot the name of it. He's got the inside line, he takes the position. I can't handle it with the understeer. I look for a move back up the inside, but it's not possible. I run wide then, and now I'm under pressure from his teammate Alboreto. Lap 14, and I'm starting to struggle with the pressure and the tyres actually. So we threw the left-right chicane again. Alboreto all over the back of me. We lose grip. We've spun round. We need to avoid the wall, but we clatter the wall really heavily, losing our rear wing. And you know what that means. I didn't know at the time that I lost my rear wing. I was going to go into the pits, make an earlier stop, but with no rear wing, you can't do much. We slide off into the gravel, into the wall, and lose a tyre. We are out of the British Grand Prix. A quarter of the way through this race, Michael Schumacher leads from Ayrton Senna. Damon Hill in third place after re-overtaking Jos Verstappen on that opening lap. John Alesi and Nicola Larini, the two Ferraris, running 5th and 6th ahead of the two McLarens, Hakkinen and Brundle. Larini, as we're looking right here, is running a solid race. He's on for some points today, very far behind his teammate Alesi, but still a chance for the Ferrari to pick up some points. Lap 19 and race leader Michael Schumacher into the pits, which is going to release Ayrton Senna into the lead of the race. Of course, Schumacher built up quite a bit of a lead, maybe 10 seconds before that first pit stop. Senna still has to pit. He might be on a 1-stop, he's probably on a 2-stop though. Schumacher rejoins in 2nd place. It's the end of lap 23 and Ayrton Senna is into the pits from the lead. Michael Schumacher retakes the race lead at the British Grand Prix. Pitting on lap 23 indicates Senna is also on a 2-stop strategy, so both these drivers on the same strategy. It's a 2-stop all the way to the finish. Almost at half race distance, and we finally get another retirement in this race. Olivier Panis' engine blows. The Ligier driver is out of this race. He makes contact there with, I believe, that's Lotus, Philippe Adams, but no damage done. Lap 29, and this is Michele Alboreto in the Minardi. And his race is going to go no further as brake failure sees him spin out into the gravel, beaches his car, and he's out of the British Grand Prix. Lap 30, halfway through this race, and Schumacher still leads from Senna. Verstappen is up ahead of Hill now. Verstappen running in 3rd. It's another podium place. Alesi in 5th. Brundle now ahead of Larini in 6th place. Blundell in 8th for Tyrrell, and his teammate Katayama, who we're looking at now, in the top 10 as well. Apart from that, not too many shocking results as we're into the second half of this British Grand Prix. Blundell is about to become the first British driver of this British Grand Prix to retire, and he's going to suffer, I think it's just suspension failure. He pulls off to the side of the track, or the side of the racing line at least, and retires his Tyrrell from this race. I don't believe what I'm seeing. Lap 32, Damon Hill's out. It's a gearbox issue. He's coming into the pits to retire his Williams on his return to the sport after 2 races out with injury. And that means after 7 races, Hill, in the fastest car on the grid, has only scored 4 points. Mika Hakkinen won't be going much further. It's lap 33, and it seems he's about to retire from this race. His engine is smoking as he heads onto the hangar straight. And yep, he's going to pull over and retire from this race. The McLaren, that's not good for McLaren at the home Grand Prix. Hakkinen is out of the race. It's now lap 36 and Schumacher is in for his second and final stop. That once again releases Senna into the lead, but Schumacher, to be fair, had almost built up a whole pit stop gap back to Ayrton Senna. Schumacher there rejoining, maybe about 4 seconds behind Senna. Lap 40, Senna in for his second and final stop. So a very straightforward 2-stop strategy for both drivers, and of course Schumacher retakes the race lead. Unless something happens with mechanical issues, Michael Schumacher will win this race. Martini seems to misjudge his own pit box, runs into the back of race leader Senna, as Senna's coming into the pits, for his second stop, of course, we've just seen that. But Martini is out of the race, he's stalled. He's stalled and he can't get the car going again. Adams has not had much luck this season. He's raced quite well so far since replacing Johnny Herbert, but his race is going to come undone here as he's going to retire from the race. It seems to be some sort of suspension failure. It actually goes down as brake failure as he locks the brakes. He's out of this race. We are now at 3/4 race distance. Schumacher, Senna, Verstappen is the top 3. Alesi, now because of Hill's retirement, is up in 4th. Brundle running a great race in 5th place, and Nicola Larini back into the points for Ferrari in 6th. That'll be a very, very good result for Larini in his personal battle, at least. Katayama in 7th in the lead, Tyrrell. Of course, his teammate out of the race as well. We've got a Lotus in the top 20 with Zanardi. Mahendra's up to 15th. Lap 48, and the retirements are coming thick and fast now. The next one is Eric Comas in the Larousse. Engine failure spectacularly down the main straight. Here's the next retirement from this British Grand Prix. Nicola Larini doing a great job right now in only his second race this season for Ferrari, currently running in the points with only about 11 laps to go. But it all comes undone. He spins off into the gravel. That's what happened to Alboreto, and Larini, just like his Italian counterpart, is out of this race. And with 5 laps to go, disaster strikes. Mahendra, who was running up in about 14th place, gearbox issues, forces him to retire from the British Grand Prix. It's a double retirement for Streamline at their first home race. And time for one final retirement in this race. It's the footwork of Gianni Morbidelli, who was running a decent race, I think about 12th place, but it's all come undone. I believe that's suspension failure. It looks like it. He pulls off to the side of the track in the final sector and retires from this race. I can't believe what I'm seeing. It's the final lap and Schumacher's engine is smoking. He's only got one corner to go. Surely he's going to hold on. Look at the engine. Oh, I can't believe this. The Benetton Ford. The Ford engine giving up on Schumacher as he crosses the line to win the British Grand Prix amidst an engine failure. What a crazy end to this race. And here are the results then. Michael Schumacher wins, even with a failing engine across the line. Ayrton Senna in second place, keeping the lead of the championship quite comfortably and minimising the points lost to his rival Michael Schumacher. Jos Verstappen, another podium, third place. John Alesi, ever consistent, fourth place today. Martin Brundle in his home race gets a top 5 finish. Ukyo Katayama for Tyrrell scoring a point as well. Bernard just missing out on points in the Ligier. The 2 Jordans, Irvine and Barrichello 8th and 9th. Then the 2 Saubers, the Cesaris and Frentzen. Most teams and cars and drivers staying quite close together to their teammates during this race. Fittipaldi down in 12th. We had 16 finishes, both Simtex finished, but luckily not high enough to move ahead of us in the constructors standings. And Lotus actually getting a top half finish. Alessandro Zanardi in 14th place. Had a host of retirements. Very disappointing for Mahendra to retire again. And of course Sala retiring on lap 14 due to heavy suspension damage. Now what does this mean for the drivers' standings? Not much, that's what I can say. Ayrton Senna has a 12-point lead at the top. It's still a very comfortable lead and he's almost at half century of points. Schumacher in second, Alesi slightly fallen off now in third. Jos Verstappen has reached 20 points for the season. Gerhard Berger of course has missed the last 2 races now, but he's still 5th in the championship and he'll still score a decent finish in the championship with 16 points to his name. Martin Brundle extending his lead over Ukyo Katayama. Martin Brundle comfortably in 6th place. His teammate Häkkinen only 3 points so far this season and down in 10th. We've had 15 drivers scoring points so far this season, and there's only one Simtek on the top 28, and I think there's only one Lotus on the top 28 as well. On to the constructors' standings, and it is still very, very close. Benetton move ahead of Williams and into the lead of the Constructors' Championship. Williams fighting with one hand behind their back pretty much. Damon Hill or Nigel Mansell, it doesn't matter who's in that first lead car in the number 0. They're not scoring any points. Ayrton Senna is basically carrying that team and currently sits in second place. Ferrari slightly falling off now in third place. They are also fighting with one hand behind their back because of no Gerhard Berger for the remainder of the season, what seems like. McLaren and Tyrrell so close, but McLaren do have the advantage at the moment in the battle for 4th place in the Constructors. We have had 8 teams scoring points so far this season. Now a quick look at all the feeder series, and the heads up, the feeder series will change for next season to make it a bit more easier for me to sort all the drivers out and the championships and all that and keep track of it. There was no race in Formula 3000, no race in German Formula 3, but there was a race at Silverstone in British Formula 3. Lacroix finishing in 7th, Josh Cassar down in 18th, so not strongest finishers for those 2 drivers. Italian Formula 3, there was once again no race. I think we're going to have a big gap between round 8 and 9, or maybe 7 and 8. So we will see quite a few races happening in the feeder series for next round. No race in Japanese Formula 3, no race in Formula 3 South America. I know it says no race under the name there, that's Mika Mieto. Gael Campos finishing 12th at Val de Vienne. British Formula Ford, no race for anybody either. And that means there's only one more, that's Australian Formula Ford, and I believe there was no race there either. Yeah, there wasn't. There's only one more round left in the Australian Formula Ford season. And there's no race today, but that's all there is for the Youth Driver Series. A quick look at the team update. Our funds are going down and down and down. We're losing 19,458 after that race, but from next round onwards we'd only be losing just under 10k because we're not working on that upgrade anymore. We don't have any money to work on any further upgrades this season, and as you can see, the morale for Kaya Mahendra is absolutely disastrous. Mikasalo is still looking pretty decent, but there's absolutely no chance we're going to be able to get Kaya Mahendra to sign a new contract. Mikasalo, I don't know, it depends on who you guys want to sign, but maybe we can go for 2 new drivers for next season. The next race though is the German Grand Prix at that old Hockenheim ring, which will surely be very exciting, and it will be a different kind of dynamic to the rest of the season, well, for most of the season, as it will be very, very heavily influenced by how powerful the car's engines are. So we might see teams like Ferrari and Lotus, for example, moving towards the front of the grid. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed and you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. I think I'm very, very close to 2,500 subs. I might have already reached it by the time this video comes out. But make sure to subscribe if you enjoy the video. Like the video, comment down below. Join the Discord, the link is in the description. Check out all the other social media channels as well. That's very helpful. And that's about it, guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.